What comes to your mind when you hear the word surveillance? CCTV cameras? Oh, there you are. For starters, that's one way to say you are being watched always. It does not matter if somebody is good or bad, criminal or innocent. CCTV cameras are just one of the tools for mass surveillance. Now there are more cutting-edge tools that can be used. How does the common person view these techniques? Do you know which state is most likely to support government surveillance? Are the poor more distrustful of nosy governments? We will answer these questions in this segment of NL Cheat Sheet. The answers can be found in the Status of Policing in India Report 2023. The annual report, the fifth in a row, was prepared by CSDS-Lokniti program and Common Cause. Around 10,000 people were interviewed face-to-face in 12 states and union territories. The report is important as surveillance and its threats are rarely part of public discourse and are dominated by experts. Before we look at the findings, we can better understand surveillance through the eyes of two philosophers, Jeremy Bentham and Michel Foucault. Bentham came up with a conceptual architectural design and called it panopticon. Not a smooth word for my liking. A panopticon is a circular building with several prison cells. These prison cells are monitored by a guard from the watchtower in the center. While monitoring every inmate may not be technically possible, but at least it gives an impression that they are under watch. Foucault used Bentham's conceptual design to explain subjugation in society. He said that in a panopticon, the inmate is seen, but he does not see. He is an object of information, never a subject in communication. The guard is like John Cena. You can't see me, but I can see you. Now the policing report covers largely three mass surveillance tools: CCTV cameras, drones, and facial recognition technique. According to the report, most people support government surveillance for crackdown on protesters or dissenters. But if the responses are seen in the context of people's socio-economic background and states, answers vary drastically. For example, people from the lower socio-economic background such as Dalits, Adivasis and minorities are less trustful of surveillance. First, let's look at how states are responding to surveillance which is used to control protests. People from Gujarat trust the government the most. On the use of CCTV cameras, Gujarat and Uttar Pradesh residents are most likely to back governments. Punjab, Karnataka and West Bengal are least likely to do so. On the use of drones to curb dissent, Gujarat and Haryana are most trustful of governments. Punjab and West Bengal are the least. On facial recognition technique, it's Gujarat again. Gujarat and Andhra Pradesh are most likely to support governments to identify protesters. Punjab and West Bengal are least likely. Beyond states, let's see the overall response of people in the country. The respondents were asked, do CCTV cameras carry a risk of illegal surveillance? Around 50% said yes, they do, while 36% disagreed. People with higher education are more likely to believe that CCTV cameras can help in reducing crimes. Nearly half of the respondents have supported the collection of biometric details by the government. Muslims and Adivasis are most critical of it. 1 out of every 2 people strongly support the use of drones by the government. But the poor and farmers are most likely to oppose it. The report also has key findings on the correlation between right to privacy and freedom of speech. The right to privacy is a constitutional right, as the Supreme Court spelled it out in 2017 in what came to be known as Puttaswamy case. Only 16% of the respondents have heard of the case. Opinion is divided when asked if police should have a warrant to check phones. 40% say police should have no freedom to do so. 8% want complete freedom for police. And 44% say in some cases cops can do it. What's surprising is people's overwhelming support to governments for their surveillance against protesters. Half of the respondents strongly justify the use of CCTV cameras in controlling protests. People from small towns are less likely to do so. 61% people support facial recognition technique against a group of people protesting against government or laws. And what about social media? One of the 5 respondents believe that the government has the right to monitor social media posts. But 2 of 3 people feel very or somewhat scared for posting political or social opinion online. People from Haryana, Gujarat, and Delhi are most scared of sharing opinions online. Kerala, Maharashtra, and Karnataka the least. Did somebody say self-censorship? This leads us back to Foucault's panopticon concept, in which inmates show controlled behavior because they feel they are watched, leading to real or imagined fear. Now, who are today's panopticon inmates? It's us. Have you thought twice before tweeting unpopular or anti-government content? Just think about it. Now, let's go back to the report. 2 out of 3 people haven't heard of Pegasus spyware, seen as a big breach of right to privacy. The spyware was made by an Israeli firm and allegedly used by the Indian government. It's alleged to have been used to snoop on judges, dissenters, and journalists. How has the media reported on surveillance? The report also analyzed over 1,000 news stories on surveillance published by 6 media outlets. 75% stories were published with the government as their primary source. 1 out of 4 news stories have a pro-surveillance slant. Times of India and Jagran are most likely to have pro-government stories, and The Wire is least likely. Only 14% mention right to privacy or legality of surveillance.
The subscription model is something that keeps News Laundry afloat, but we need hundreds of thousands of people to completely transform the news ecosystem. So you pay for news, so it serves you. So click on the link with this video, subscribe to News Laundry and pay to keep news free, और गर्व से कहो मेरे खर्च पर आज़ाद है खबरें.